To continue with our practice of ZBrush, although we are still in the basics levels, we want to do it with our model so we get a more practical application and specific targeted usage of tools so we are not covering everything in this tutorial. You may use other tutorials, you may go to LinkedIn Learning to go have a more comprehensive review of all tools. For now, we're going to try using it on our project, on this creature project. I have my dinosaur modeled. This dinosaur is basic model, very low resolution. I got some, you know, specific neutral posing, and I have some part that I modeled separate eyes. So I have the two eyeballs there. I have the teeth, upper teeth and lower teeth. I don't have a tongue yet. I could model a tongue to it. My goal is to export that out and send it to ZBrush. Before I send it to ZBrush, I need to make sure this object is, of course, doesn't have any history on it, and I need to verify that there is no any um, geometry that is not clean. So the first thing I'm going to say is I'm going to select objects that are not four faces. I'm going to apply that. It's clean. So you gotta be careful with that. If you when you mirror, especially sometimes you get some little weirdness. And the second one I'm gonna do, and this one I'm gonna tell you to clean it up. I'm gonna clean up the non-manifold geometry, which is when you have extrusions that never got moved. So I'm gonna just apply that. I'm sorry, let me clean it first, select it, and then apply it. And then, of course, that to get if there was any, I don't think there was anything on it. So I'm gonna close it, and then I'm gonna delete history on my object. I'm gonna do the same thing for those teeth. So I'm gonna have the teeth mesh and then clean up. Let's see, low teeth, there was something there, let me try to find it. There was some little junk on the front of the teeth. So let me get out of that. I'm gonna select my object, Shift I, and frame it. I'm gonna say, maybe there is some of those faces are a bit too close together. I'll try to just say mesh, open it up. I'm gonna tell it to clean up both, clean up. That way it just takes care of them. I'm gonna do the same thing for this one. I'm gonna say mesh, clean up, and hopefully they're taken care of. And again, I'm gonna delete history. Important to delete history, important to clean up before you go. So I'm gonna save my file here. I can save my file. And alright, so now this model, if I were to export it out to ZBrush, when I bring it to ZBrush, it's going to look like this. Because ZBrush is going to read the low-res version of it. So that means I need to smooth it. And I'm going to smooth it to a level that maybe I could go and modify some of that smoothing here. If I want to highlight some muscles and stuff, I could do a little bit of sculpting here when I smooth it. And I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go smash, smooth. I can open it up. I'm gonna say to smooth and division levels 1, or I can crank it up there. Or if I say smooth, keeping everything the same, if I say smooth, the little smoothing divisions pop-up comes, and it shows me that, yeah, it's pretty heavy, but not quite enough for me to bring it to ZBrush yet. So I'm gonna crank it up a tiny bit more. I'm gonna go to 2 subdivisions, and that takes a little while to calculate, and eventually it does it. So I got my model there. I'm gonna do the same trick for the teeth. The eyeballs I'm not planning to bring there because the eyeballs are spheres, so I don't need to paint them or sculpt them. So I'm gonna keep them there. I'm gonna bring them though, just to see the eye with the eye in this eye socket. That's the only reason I'm gonna bring them. So let me use smooth the teeth. Same thing, I'm gonna give them two divisions. Make sure that both of them receive that. I don't think the top one, the bottom one received them, so I'm gonna just try that one too. There we go. And the eye, I'm gonna just do the same thing just for visualizing it, not for sculpting it, just for visualizing. And I'm gonna say two on both. Same trick, I'm gonna just make sure that both showing with two subdivisions. I need to delete history. This model, I could come here and do some sculpting, by the way. I could go here and grab some sculpting of muscles if I wanted to get more dramatic muscles on it. But the thing is that I don't plan to use this model for my final model. So for my ring, and I would have to generate all that stuff for it. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna just say increment and save this file. The file I'm going to be using is the prior version, version 7 is the one that I'm going to end up using, so you remember the number, because when I go back with whatever we do in ZBrush, it's going to come back to be applied to this version 7. So for now I'm going to increment and save, and version 8 is the one that has the higher res models. I'm going to delete history on both objects again, by type history. That way I know that version 8, I'm going to save version 8. So version 8 is my model, and now I need to export them out, but I'm going to export them out individually. I don't want to export them out all together, so I'm going to select the body first. Make sure you have it named correctly here. It's clean, export the selection. And I had done it already before, because of course I needed to prepare for my practice. So I'm going to call this one body. I'm going to just actually keep it here. I'm going to say Dino Z body. All right. I'm going to export it out as an OBJ. You could export out as an FBX too. OBJ normally maintaining all of the information there. I'm going to say export selection. Yes, I might not do a lot with it, but I want to see the if I had other components, I could export out other components too. That'd be fine. I'm going to select both teeth so they can pick together. I'm going to export selection, and then I'm going to call Dino Z teeth export selection, and then Dino I Dino Z I eyes export selection. Again, this is not the model I'm going to be using for bringing back the work done in ZBrush, but I need to export it out this way. All right, let me go back to ZBrush. Now that I'm back in ZBrush, I still have my old document open when I was testing and sculpting on my dog, but I want to bring my dinosaur in a blank new slate. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna say document, new document. That way I'm not going to save anything here. That way I have a blank slate. The dog still shows there, but that's just a temporary tool that will be replaced in a minute. So what I need now to do is I need to bring in my dinosaur, but my dinosaur, I cannot save file, open, or import like a regular program would. I need to bring it in as a tool. So under the tool menu there, you can also, call back your tool menu. If it's not there, you go to tool here and click on this little icon, and then it's popped on the right. I'm gonna say import. I'm gonna go and look for my Dino Z body. I'm gonna say open, and the Dino Z body gets loaded there, replacing the dog, and it shows up here. So now I need to just to click and drag, and if I hold shift, I can position it in this space, and then I let go of my mouse and my dinosaur. It's added there. If I import the teeth now, my current dinosaur is going to be replaced. I don't want that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select this under this subtool. The subtool is a place where I can see the list of objects. I'm going to select this one. I'm going to, so I have it right there. That way, I can now go and have a backup of the dinosaur. I'm gonna go back and I import my teeth. The duplicate got replaced by the teeth, right? So I have my teeth there, and now I can start. If I want to bring the eyes, I'm going to do the same trick. I'm gonna grab this guy, I'm gonna duplicate that guy. That way I can import the eyeballs, and then the eyeballs got added as a third element there. Since this is already my three layers or my three objects to work on, and I can go back and forth visualizing one or the other one so I can work on all of them. And now I can just try to start modeling on them. So I'm gonna go and click, now that I have all of them ready on my subtools and of course my tools to be able to use, I'm gonna go and hit edit, and the edit button brings them to be more on the 3D environment. Now I can rotate and I can zoom in and start working on each one of them, or I can just hide the one that I don't want. I can work on the body, or I can hide the one, visualize the one that I want to work on. Since I am going to be working only on the body, I'm gonna stick on the body and keep the other ones visible in case I can use them. I'm gonna just move this guy here and spend a little time right there. So again, I need to bring them as tools, that way I can see them all together. My object came with some of that low res effect, but I'm not going to work on it. Right now, what I'm ready to do, so that I maintain my layers, if I save the tools, I could go and save the tools, it will save this tool, it wouldn't save all of these layers. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna say File, I'm gonna save as, and this is going to allow me to save my project. So I'm gonna go and look for my folder there. And then under my class work folder, I'm gonna just go here. I have a ZBrush folder. I'm gonna call it here, create a new folder for it. I'm gonna call it dinosaur. I'm gonna go in there, and of course not dog, but it's gonna be dino, and I can say underscore 001. I'm gonna be saving multiple versions of it, and that way I can go that zpr.cpr.cpr, which is a ZPR, a ZBrush project. If you save it as a GIF, it will save an image. If you save it as a PNG, it will save a PNG. Of course, I don't want those. I want a ZPR when I save it. Now, the project is saved, and well, it refreshed. Hopefully, it's there, but it's not showing it for some reason. But it is there. Okay, it was refreshing a little bit. So now I'm ready to go and start working on my model. So I'm going to stop it there, and in the next video when I start sculpting.